Wall Street is very bullish on Mara and Riot. What I'll do in this video is I will go over the analyst ratings for both companies, I'll go over the financials for both companies, and I will give a price prediction for Riot and Mara at the end of each of the companies' respective segments. So with that being said, let's dive right in. So Cantor Fitzgerald reiterated their overweight rating on the 7th, so just 2 weeks ago here. They reiterated their $23 price target for Riot. And then we can also see that we have 13 different investment banks, 13 different Wall Street research firms that are bullish on Riot, and we have 0 firms that are bearish on Riot. So this tells me that general consensus is that Riot Platforms is a buy on Wall Street. And we can see here that the consensus price target is $24. So that means that the average price target is $24 for this stock, which definitely signals that there is a general consensus that Riot is a buy for the market. And then with that being said, let's take a look at the valuation for Riot. So we can see here that the price to book ratio is 1.5 times, which for those that don't know, that basically tells you that the market cap is 1.5 times the book value of this company or the assets on its balance sheet. So that's definitely signaling a somewhat of a discount for the company when you consider that Riot's 5-year average for price to book was actually 4.6. So the company's definitely increased their assets on their balance sheet at a pretty high clip. Obviously, PE isn't positive, so it's tough for me to kind of really do a holistic view on the valuation. And then let's take a look at how the company is growing. So we saw negative revenue growth of 16% last year. So that was over the past 12 months. We saw revenue drop 16%. Stark contrast when you take a look at Riot's 5-year average of growth of 785%. And then revenue growth for the next 12 months is 34%, which is still below Riot's 5-year average. But it's good to see that revenue growth is kind of reversing, and we're seeing this company continue to grow its revenue despite a dismal, past 12 months here. So with that being said, I'll keep it moving on to profitability for Riot. So we can see here that the company has a gross profit margin of 11%. For those that don't know, this gross profit margin basically just tells you what a company makes for what it sells. So it's simply just revenue minus cost of goods sold. I always give this example. I'll give it here. Let's say you have a lemonade stand and you're selling lemonade for, let's call it $1.11. But you bought the lemonade for $1. Well, you're making 11% on everything that you sell. That's basically what gross profit means. And this gross profit number is actually well below Riot's 5-year average. So it's definitely not a good sign to see that profitability is kind of dropping for Riot. I think a large part of this, right, is because energy prices have dropped. So, because energy prices have risen significantly over the past couple of years. That's obviously the largest input cost into mining, right? Or maybe actually equipment's probably first, but energy definitely plays a big factor in the cost to mine a Bitcoin, right? So that jump in energy prices is definitely not helping the profitability metrics for Riot and really for mining stocks in general. And then we can also see that the company has $1.59 in cash per share, which is about 15% of the market cap in cash per share. And then let's take a look at the company's chart here and see if we can give a logical price prediction. So we bottomed out at about $10.40, this kind of buy zone. We bottomed out at this level in mid-September. We also bottomed out at this level in late August. We bottomed out at this level in the spring as well. Therefore, I believe there is a significant amount of buying demand around this $10 level, which I do believe acts as support for this stock over the coming weeks to months. So that's kind of what I'm seeing in the chart for Riot Platforms. So I think that this level holds, and we see a move higher over the coming weeks for this stock on the backs of higher crypto prices and just kind of its own technicals, independent of the general market or even its own sector. So once again, I believe this support level holds for Riot, and we see it move up to at least the 100-day moving average, which is about $12.70. Not making a long-term price prediction on this stock, just simply making a shorter-term price prediction based on technical analysis. So with that being said, let's keep it moving here on to Mara. So Mara, once again, is extremely it is perceived as a very, very good buy on Wall Street. So we have 6 different investment firms here that are bullish on the stock, and we have 0 investment firms which are bearish. So that once again here tells you that the general consensus for Mara is a good one, is a buy. And we saw H.C. Wainwright reiterate their buy rating just a couple weeks ago with a $20 price target. Love to see that. Obviously, definitely a good sign for the company. So once again here, bullish signals from Wall Street. And then with that being said, let's take a look at the company's financials. And then once we're done with that, I'll kind of compare Mara's financials to all of the peers here. So obviously we're not PE positive, so this company isn't making any money. So obviously it's somewhat hard for me to kind of grade its valuation. But with that being said, I'm looking here at Seeking Alpha here. Seeking Alpha gives a grade for valuation, and they're giving Mara a C. And they're giving Mara a C because we obviously don't have a positive PE, but we see a pretty good price to book ratio of 2.8, which for those that don't know, that basically means that the market cap is 2.8 times the book value of this company. So that's signaling that Mara's in a pretty good spot. And then we also see that Mara's 5-year average is 5.5 times, which tells you that Mara is trading at a discount when you look at their price to book ratio, just based on its own history, right? And then with that being said, let's move into growth for Mara. So obviously, growth over the past 12 months for the general sector hasn't been great, right? We've seen higher interest rates, and that's detracted the revenue for pretty much every single crypto correlated stock out there. But we see that Seeking Alpha is giving this stock a B- in terms of growth. And if we look at why, we can see that over the past 12 months, the stock is having revenue growth of minus 11%. And then we can see that revenue growth for the next 12 months is actually 54%. So that tells you that the company is seeing, a drop, or excuse me, it is seeing a reversal in this trend. We're seeing revenue growth kind of reverse here, and we're seeing a 55% jump in revenue over the next 12 months. That is obviously a projection, but it is worth noting that these growth numbers are well below Mara's historical growth metric of almost 600% per year. So definitely seeing some normalization in terms of that growth level, but still pretty high. And once again, similar to Riot, it's good to see that growth, those growth numbers are kind of reversing for the next 12 months. I think that's really important for the stock. With that being said, though, let's take a look at the company's profitability metrics, which unfortunately is graded as an F according to Seeking Alpha. But we can kind of see why. So the company has a gross profit margin of 24%, which is actually above Riot. So 24%, not bad. And then we could take a look. The company has a cash per share of about 65 cents, which is roughly about 7% of the market cap in cash. And then let's take a look at how all of these valuations, the profitability, the growth metrics, the balance sheets stack up compared to the pure play crypto stocks that are in the market right now. So let's take a look at how this stacks up. So I'll compare Riot and Mara here on the left. And then I'm going to be comparing them to Coinbase, Greenridge Holdings, Hut 8 Mining, and Candycan. So with that being said, let's take a look at the balance sheet for these companies. So Seeking Alpha is being really annoying, not loading. All right, there we go. So for Mara, we have total cash of $113 million. and we have total debt of $734 million, which tells you that there is net debt of $621 million, which basically means that there is $621 million more debt than cash. And then Riot's balance sheet looks much better. So Riot has a $289 million cash position, and then they also have a $22 million debt holding. So that means that the company has $266 million more debt, or excuse me, more cash than debt. So this is a really good balance sheet. It's actually the best balance sheet amongst the pure mining stocks. Obviously, Coinbase is a bit better, bigger company. But when you compare Riot to Mara in terms of the balance sheet, Riot's balance sheet is much healthier. It's just undeniable, really. And then let's take a look at the short interest. So Riot has a 17% short interest. Mara has a 25%. So there are definitely more shorts in Mara. So Mara is a bit more susceptible to a short squeeze. And then let's take a look at growth for the company. So we can see that the 5-year compounded annual growth rate for Mara is at 180%, which is actually below Riot's 5-year compounded annual growth rate of 130%. So in its history, Mara has been the faster growing stock. And over the next 12 months, they're projected to kind of continue that higher growth trend. And then let's take a look at the valuation for the company. So we can see here that price to book ratio for Mara is 2.8 times. And then price to book ratio for Riot is 1.5 times. So on a price to book basis, Riot is definitely the cheaper stock. Obviously, though, the company isn't profitable at this current time. But if we look 3 years out, Riot is projecting to be profitable, which is actually sooner than Mara. So in terms of valuation, I would say Riot is kind of the winner here. And then, that's kind of the things you need to know about both of those stocks. And then with that being said, I'll take a look at Mara's chart and give a price prediction. So just in conclusion, though, if you're looking for the better valuation, it's Riot. If you're looking for the higher growth numbers, it's Mara. Personally, I would prefer Riot a bit here just because they have the better balance sheet and they're closer to profitability, and the growth is still pretty high, although it's not 180% compounded annual growth rate over the past 5 years, but it's still pretty high. So personally, I prefer Riot. But that's not saying Mara can't win also. I think the general space is a really good one. So I definitely could see a world where both of these stocks win. It's not mutually exclusive, right? So similar to Riot, we're coming down to a major support level at about $9.50 for Mara. So Mara actually used this level as support in yesterday's session. We even used it as support in today's session. And as you can see in the spring, we've consistently bottomed out at this $9.50 level. So this leads me to believe that this stock once again holds this level and moves up to likely resistance at around $13, which is where shares had topped out in April. So I see us moving up to about $13 over the coming weeks for Mara. Obviously, Bitcoin could fall off a cliff. There's other factors that are affecting Mara's price here. But if you were to kind of just look at Mara's chart in a vacuum, it definitely is implying that this company is likely to move higher over the coming weeks. So with all that being said, covered a lot in today's video. Let me know if you would like me to cover other crypto stocks. You can always let me know below. But with that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video. I will end it there.
If you got some value from this video, please leave a like. We post company breakdowns and important market moving news on this channel on a daily basis, so make sure you are subscribed. If you would like to receive my daily portfolio moves, my exits, my entries, and see how me and my team of analysts are trading the markets, join the Discord through the link in the description below to get our free 7-day trial. Also, if you would like to join our free daily newsletter, sign up to our Substack, which is linked below as well. With that being said, good luck everyone. Happy trading, happy investing.